Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to do some problem diagnosis. I don't think we're going to be able to fix this reel without getting some spare parts based on my initial observations. But let's take a look at what's going on here and then we'll see if we can repair this. So this is an Okuma Catalina. It's a nice looking reel. There's two issues from the outside that I've been asked to address. The first one is that we have a very loose free spool release. It does release. It allows the reel to go into free spool mode, and it does close. But the second one is there's a skip. So it's happening about every eighth of a turn. It's just not an easy turn. My guess on this one, we're going to take a look. My guess on this one is that the spring from the free spool release broke, and that there's a piece of metal kind of snarling the works here. But we'll take a look and we'll find out. This one was brought in, I think somebody may have taken it apart. It's missing the set screw and the handle nut is loose, so I don't even have to grab a tool to get started with that one. That one can simply be taken off by hand. Speaking of hands, I do have a protective glove on my non-working hand, and I also use a parts tray for all the pieces and parts that I take off, so I know where to find them. We're going to take this apart and see what's going on. So the first thing is the handle nut, then the handle, then we have a cap, we have a little set washer, we have a screw, a spring. The spring is sitting flat back to narrow front. You want to pay attention to these details as you take reels apart so that you can install them properly on the way back. One of my pieces of advice normally is to take pictures along the way. That way you can go back and retrace your steps if you find out that something's not right or you're just having difficulty in trying to put those things together. I'm taking pictures here with the video. So once we take those pieces off, we can take the star drag adjuster off. And then we should have a couple of tension washers, which we do. And you want to pay attention on these tension washers as to how they're set. They're not flat washers. I hope that that's easily seen. They are a concave kind of a deal. Pay attention to how they came off. These two are side to side or face to face, but they can be reversed to give you greater tension in your star drag adjustments. They can also go opposite pieces, which also create a gap that allows for some additional tension. But in this case, they were face to face and they meshed, so we're going to put them back there as well. Okay, so now we're on to removing the side plate. Looks like there's 4 screws on this side and there's 2 screws behind. So let's go ahead and grab them. This is a Phillips head screwdriver we're using. And I always like to look to see what the size of those are and where they came from. Sometimes those screws are different sizes. You'll notice that in a Penn reels, for example. The screws that go into the reel seat are smaller than the screws that go into the side plate. So you just want to pay attention, crossbars rather. You just want to pay attention to see that they're all the same. These look like they're all the same. One of the things you can do, and I haven't done it here, but one of the things you can do is you can also pull a schematic of the reel. That'll give you the burst diagram for where these pieces and parts belong. And again, if you got lost along the way, that would help you. Just going for a micro screwdriver now. These are smaller screws on the back of this. I'm telling you, I don't even have to take that off. I don't have to take that off. Okay, so I'm looking inside here. There's a lot going on, but I'm not sure any of it is any relevance here. The spring is broken. We can just see it here. It's flopping in the breeze, and I suspect that we'll take this apart and show you. But this is the piece of metal here that fell off the spring. And that's, no question in my mind, that's what's clogging the works in terms of its skipping. It's getting down into the gearing and it's becoming a problem there. So that's the problem with this reel. We've got a broken spring from the anti-reverse there. Let's go get that out so that we know how to order this, and then we can move from there. So again, this is an Okuma Catalina. We're going to start by taking off the jack that operates that free spool. And I can just pull up, and with that will come the yoke and the spool gear. And I've worked on these before, so I kind of know what's going on here in these reels. But again, you can use the videos there. This gives you a little bit more of an indication of what the issue is here. So let's just grab this so that we can grab that spring off of there. I'm just trying to clean some of this reel grease off of here. It's pretty thick stuff. And I'm not quite sure what that stuff is. But in order to get the spring out now, we can see it's just floating here now. In order to get that spring out, we need to take the free spool lever handle off. So I'll just grab a screwdriver. Gotta get a bigger blade than that. I'll hold the top of it. Pull that off. We can push the eccentric on the other side through. You can also use the screwdriver to kind of work it up. There we go, get the lever off, and then the lever should push through. It's funny, despite all of that, there we go. We got the screw, got the spring off there. Okay, so that's the problem here. Just looking for a little something to pull that out. That's the problem. We have a broken spring, and we're going to have to go order that from Okuma to complete this repair. But this should be turning fine now. There shouldn't be, there's no skip whatsoever in this one. So that tells you that that metal got in the way. I'm imagining, because this is where that spring would attach, it came down here, got connected into the spool gear, and that caused the skip in it. So I don't know what caused that spring to break, and we'll go take these pieces off, clean them up. You can see that there's a lot of stuff on this one. We'll just go clean that up and make sure that we determine what that break point was. Why did that spring fail? Because most of the time, even though that's a thin diameter spring, most of the time it's not. It's not overuse that kills a spring like that. Usually some kind of line or something else gets in this thing to make that happen. So I'm going to set this aside for now. I did want to show you that sometimes you can't complete a reel repair right on the front of it. Sometimes you have to go look further. In this case, what we found when we went further was that we have a spring. It belongs between here and the eccentric. It's broken, and we need to go get a replacement part for that. So I've had luck in calling Okuma directly. If you just go on Okuma Fishing in an internet search, you'll find the support under North America. And I've had luck in calling them directly and getting replacement parts for their reels. I believe that these replacement parts may also be available through Mike's Reel Repair up in Canada. And I think e-replacement parts may also have them. So at any rate, I'm just going to set this aside for now. There's nothing else I can do at the moment. I'll come back to this one to repair it. To repair this one simply is going to be grab that spring, put it on the back of the eccentric, tuck it in here, which is where its second part is held to, reset the eccentric after we clean the reel, and it'll be ready to go fishing again. So that's a little bit on problem diagnostics, to try and figure out why some things are happening. Unfortunately, we didn't have the pieces and parts to go repair that fully. I'm just going to leave it right here in my my handy parts tray. and I'll come back to that one when the parts come in. So when it comes in, I'll show you how to rebuild the bottom of this reel, but for now I just wanted to give you an indication of how to do some problem diagnosis on some reels. I hope that's helpful to you. If you like it, please indicate that you liked it on YouTube. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Thanks again. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.